Now, News Channel 8 Morning News.
Welcome back, 10 o'clock. We continue our storm team coverage of this frosty Tuesday morning. The cleanup underway following the region's first big snowstorm of the season. We have crews deployed all across the D.C. region, monitoring conditions. We'll be checking in with them throughout the hour.
And it's good to have you with us,
Good to be with you.
Kind of tag teaming each other today. And we also have D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser in studio today with us, and we'll be touching on a number of issues with her. First, though, let's check in with meteorologist Brian Vandegraff for the latest on the big storm. Where is it now, Brian?
Well, it is moving out to sea, and there's going to be a little bit of light snow off to the northeast, up through upper state New York, New England area, off to the northeastern coast. But around here, we're seeing this plow start to work on the pavement, and the skies are a bit cloudy, but we are seeing some sunshine peering through. How much snow? We've put together a few maps, and here's one of our lists of some of our bigger numbers we've seen. And down to the south, Fredericksburg, 7 inches, 7.5 in Great Mills, Maryland, Bushwood, Maryland, down in southern Calvert County at 7 inches, 5 inches in Burke, Ashburn at 3.5. Share your pictures, share your totals with us. We love it. Give us firsthand account of what's going on there, and we can share. In Fairfax right now, it's 14 degrees currently, a little bit of a light breeze out of the north at 7, a wind chill of 2. We definitely have some cold air out there. Not a ton of breezes, but look at that. Dulles 15 feels like 5, 20 in the district feels like 12 at this hour. Andrews at 18 feels like 8. Baltimore's 15 feels like 6. So we definitely have a chill in the air out there this morning. The radar loop showing the clouds are still out there, but the moisture has moved out. It'll be a chilly day. This system continues to move off to the northeast, just grazing a little bit of a couple inches maybe in New England at most. Not bad for them. That chilly air is in place today, and early tomorrow morning we'll get a little bit of sunshine later today and tomorrow morning, but by midday tomorrow a strong front comes through, and it could bring a couple of snow showers, heavy bands of snow, little snow squalls we call them, much like we had last Saturday evening. We could have some gusty winds, heavy snow, limited visibility, and another little light coating, but nonetheless can make for some slick conditions, and then much colder air. So teens today, but through the afternoon I do think we'll see temperatures pushing the upper 20s, back in the teens tonight. Tomorrow on the lookout for some afternoon snow squalls, and then for Thursday and Friday we're in for a chillier air mass. Look at that, teens to near 20 for highs, single digits at night. It'll feel well below 0 at times with a gusty breeze. And then we still have to watch the weekend. Another little system will swing on by, light moisture, maybe a little light snow or rain. At least temperatures will be coming up by the upcoming weekend. Let's look at our forecast at 10:02. Now let's toss it back over to you guys.
All right. Wish you could bring some warmth in that forecast, Brian, but that's just not happening. Oh, Brianne Carter has been out there traveling the roads for us in our mobile track vehicle this morning.
And she is with us now with the very latest. Brianne, where are you, and how do things look where you are?
And take a live look here in Bethesda. You can see just moments ago, thank you to the Montgomery County crews that are working here because they just came through with a plow. We're already talking about plowing those neighborhood streets. That is a good sign for how things are looking. And take a look here. We've got a bunch of people getting out and about from the house as the sun has come out, and we are starting to see things clear up just slightly. A little bit of fun to have a little bit further up there, if you can see some of those families out there with the sleds and the shovels. But take a live look here on the roads. This is what we're starting to see, is the plows coming through on those neighborhood streets. The main roads really starting to look just fine. Sun came out. We saw a lot of that treatment that was happening earlier this morning. Got to watch out for those little ones that are sledding down the hill, having a good time on this snow day off from school. And speaking of school, we heard Brian talk about in the past hour or so, possibly talking about some delays or even closures tomorrow, because this is still going to be the issue, trying to get the buses into those roads. We've come to a good intersection here. If you take a look, you can see. Watch the difference as we get back onto a main feeder road. Look at that, guys. Pavement, a lot of salt and sand. The plow has been through. Starting to see the sun come down, shine a little bit on that. That is the good news of what we're seeing. More of those thoroughfares where the cars are getting out and warming up that pavement just a little bit. Seeing those plow trucks out there, things are starting to look better than they did really just a couple of hours ago. Still, if you're heading out today, be careful in the neighborhood and side street roads. That's where we're still going to see the potential for some problems this morning. That is what we have seen so far driving around throughout the region this morning. It is those neighborhood and side roads where people are still slipping and sliding a little bit trying to go around those corners. So as always, stay safe out there on the roads. For now, we will send it back inside to you.
Brianne Carter, thanks so much.
Well, the snow has stopped. The sun is out, so it's looking good, but it is not providing much warmth out there.
It is not. Brad Bell is live for us in St. Mary's County this morning, a couple minutes after 10 o'clock. Brad, they are digging out there big time. Some of the biggest totals we've seen across the region.
Yeah, the number generally across the area looks like it's 7. 7 inches is what we've gotten here. You know, I've been out here since 3:30 this morning, and I am just now for the first time really feeling the cold. We're getting a little bit of a biting wind out here now. We just had we hope it was the last snow shower pass through. But you know what? Take a look out here. There are mountains of snow that have been plowed up. The roads have all been plowed. We can show you some video of what it looks like around here. We took a little drive in between live shots out on 3 Notch Road. Certainly passable. It's at that point now where there's that powdery snow on the roads that gives you an opportunity to have a little bit of traction with your tires. Back in the neighborhoods, people are scraping off their cars and digging out their walks. Not everybody in love with the job.
It was horrible. I'm from Arizona, and it took 4 hours to get over Solomon's from BWI to here. It took 4 hours of driving, and my car was squirreling all over the road. I finally made it here at 10 o'clock last night.
What'd you think when you woke up this morning and looked out here?
This is not Arizona.
So white snow, white knuckles, huh?
White snow, white knuckles. This is not Arizona.
Yeah, that's it. Definitely not Arizona unless you're up on top of a mountain peak. But, you know, there's one other thing I want to show you. I mentioned that it is pretty cold out here. You know, take a look down here. They've plowed and plowed and scraped and scraped. You can see some little dots here and there. Well, not too well here. They've also spread salt, a lot of salt on this area. And it is just, I mean, I could scrape my feet over it. It's just not doing anything. It's that cold. And you know, one of the things that's going to happen is that if the salt does start to thaw this out, not to be too cliched, but it is going to freeze up again. So even though this storm was timed beautifully so that they could get plowing out here and get these places cleaned up, we're not entirely out of the woods yet. This was a significant snowfall, especially down in this region. Back to you, Bruce. Melanie.
All right, Brad. You get the feeling that people are sort of taking a breath, a little relief now. The storm is over, right?
But good to adhere to Brad's advice and avoid overconfidence.
Absolutely.
Because that can be a problem. We want to head to DuPont Circle now in Northwest D.C.
And our Mike Canine, he is assessing the snow conditions out there for a big snowball fight that's coming up. Hey, Mike.
Hi, Melanie and Bruce. Again, telling our viewers all day, this is not ideal snowpacking condition. Powdery, dusty, not great unless you really get it wet. Maybe bring a bottle of water if you're going to go to the snowball fight, although they don't want you throwing ice, but a nicely packed snowball is welcome. Now, we should alert our viewers, if you're planning on heading to the snowball fight, it's not going to be here in DuPont Circle. It's going to get underway in little less than an hour, we're told, at Meridian Hill Park, just a few blocks north of here. In fact, as soon as we finish this live shot with you, we're going to move to that location because we want to carry those festivities live as we try to do each big snowstorm. And I'm joined here live here in DuPont Circle. Shamika and Barry live in Bowie, and I wanted to talk to them for 2 reasons. A, you're a nurse, you're a mail carrier, 2 careers that require you to work in snow like TV reporters, but also you live in Bowie and you traveled to Virginia and now to D.C., so you've seen all sorts of roadways. What kind of condition are the roads in that you saw?
It was mainly more slushy than anything. It was like one lane was usually clear and then everything else was still covered in snow. But the side streets were like that, just completely slush.
Barry, where were the roads best? Where were they the worst?
In Virginia and D.C., they were pretty much clear, but on 50 and Bowie and that area, it was like horrible, covered in snow, and you know you couldn't really drive. You was veering off to the side and everything because of the slush that was still, you know, on the ground.
You both happen to have today off, so your colleagues must be kind of jealous you're enjoying this snow day in D.C.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially when they watch 7.
All right. Well, we're live on News Channel 8 right now, but we'll be going back and forth between the 2 stations. We appreciate you guys talking with us. Stay warm today. Enjoy your day off, relaxing. So, again, we're going to head right over to that snowball fight at Meridian Hill Park. Keep it right here on News Channel 8 throughout the day for the latest on our snow situation.
All right, Mike, thanks. And, of course, the last time we sent Mike Canine to a snowball fight in the district, it became a worldwide viral video sensation. We'll see what happens today, but just avoid the face area, please. We want to welcome in D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser. We are privileged to have her with us today. This, of course, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. This is the News Talk Hour,
Yes,
so we're doing
yes.
snow coverage and we're doing the usual sort of wonky Q&A we do with area elected officials. So
and kudos to you for coming in on such a nasty
No,
day.
it's my pleasure. My pleasure. We were scheduled, and here I am.
The mayor was listening with intent focus as Mike asked, compare road conditions around the region. You liked what you heard
I did.
in terms of, give us a sense of what you were doing and what your team did over during the night.
Well, we got a big team out, and we wanted to make sure we threw everything at the storm. We thought it could be up to 8 inches. So I activated our snow team yesterday at 3 p.m. They worked on 12-hour shifts through the night to get ahead of the storm, and I'm really grateful for their work. We declared a snow emergency yesterday, which meant people had to get their cars off the snow emergency routes so that we could get good clearance from curb to curb on our major roadways. And so far, I think it's working. Our DCPS kids and our public school kids have the day off along with our government, and I think having most people off the roads is going to help us dig out a lot faster.
The timing may have been helpful in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was the first really big snowfall of the season so far. From here on, will you sort of assess how you did today and then work on that to improve for the next time?
Well, we assessed how we did after the very first one, which was my second day on the job. We found some things that we could improve on around communication, and I think communication-wise, our team is clicking, and then we'll look and see how the cleanup effort went. But I expect after everything's cleaned up, then we will assess again.
We've had some very cold weather in addition to the snow that we had overnight, biggest so far this season. We've had a period of significant cold.
Yes.
What is the city doing to make sure that folks aren't out in the elements, exposing themselves to potential risk?
Right. Well, we also activated, I think late last week, a snow emergency because of the prolonged days of cold that we would have. That allows me to open up warming centers, so if we can encourage people to come off the street, or sometimes people lose power, they lose heat during this time, and then they need to be able to access city services. We, of course, are working with our partners to make sure that our homeless neighbors are encouraged to come inside as well.
Speaking of homelessness, that is one of the hallmarks of what you ran on. You wanted to make sure that people are no longer homeless. What are you doing toward that end goal?
Well, I ran on a lot of things, and most of it, importantly, that we heard from residents around the district that they wanted a good, honest, and open government. They wanted a mayor to focus on affordable housing and how we expand the middle class, and a focus on a plan that would lead us to ending chronic homelessness in the District of Columbia. Not an easy task, but I've hired a great team. I recruited somebody from the federal government. One of President Obama's secretaries said, and they even stole the woman who's taking care of homelessness for the whole nation, and we were able to recruit her to lead our Department of Human Services. So our focus will be how do we get back to a housing first model, not shelter for a night, but housing for a lifetime.
This is where the navigators come in.
The navigators will help. What we found out is at this point during our hypothermia season that we've made more vouchers available, we've made a lot more resources available, but there was still a bottleneck between once a person has been assessed for the type of housing they need, actually getting them the key and getting them through the door. That's more of a real estate function. And so we're going to hire a team of housing navigators to have the real estate expertise to get somebody who's been assessed into their front door.
Something that a social worker might not have in terms of the training they bring.
Exactly.
How many people on any given night are homeless out on the streets, and are there enough beds in shelters for anybody who wants to come inside?
We think so, and so it varies from night to night. I participated with a lot of Washingtonians a couple of weeks ago in what they call a point-in-time count that tries to assess the number of people on the street. I'm not going to remember the exact number that we counted on that day, but we have a lot of what we call low barrier shelters where a person can go in right at that moment and get a warm place to stay. We've
been without Metro bus service since early this morning.
Yep.
We are told that some Metro bus service will be restored in about 15 minutes time. Yeah. Is that the sort of thing, and you, of course, in addition to being a member of the D.C. Council, you served on the WMATA board, the
Yep.
Metro board. In a situation like this, does Metro consult with its partners, the District of Columbia and others, to say, hey, we're thinking about pulling buses off the road, what do you think? Do they tell you it's going to happen, that this is their plan after they've decided sort of independently? How does that work generally, and how did it work in this case?
Well, Metro participates in a call with the region, but it's up to them to assess if they think they can operate safely. They have a certain protocol for bus and another protocol for rail, and they let us know. But that does drive a lot of decisions, especially for us. You know, my bent is to always try to open the government if we can, because a lot of people rely on the direct services of local government. We're not the federal government, so people are calling for help with the utilities. People are calling for child care issues. People are calling for any number of reasons that you call on your local government. So I want to be open, but having public transportation available is a big indicator.
And I guess the good news is that Metro Bus did get restored partially just about an hour ago on the major routes.
Yes, we see, and
so
even the major routes
news.
are looking pretty good in the district, and even as we were coming over here, the commute routes are looking pretty good too.
Mayor Bowser, stand by for just a moment. We'll take a quick break here. We'll check in with Angela Foster and get a look at area road conditions after a break. Keep it here.